Krista, welcome to this newest version of Coffee and Tea with Carrie V. This is Coffee and Tea with Carrie V Live, and you are our flagship guest on Coffee and Tea with
Awesome.
Carrie V Live. I know. And I'm so excited that your assistant reached out and asked to have you on as a guest. And I'm so excited. When I was reading all the topics that you talk about, it is my wheelhouse. It's the things that the people who follow me love to hear about. And the one that really struck out to me the most was how to get clear on your biggest impact, because many of us know that we want to make a good impact, a great impact, but we don't know how to get clear on what our unique ability is. So
Yes.
as the expert, I'm going to let you take it from here, Krista, and give us some keys on some tips on how to do that.
Yes, absolutely. And this is something that I feel like I have to tell myself to just take a deep breath and not do the 24-hour, deal about it, but also it's such a valuable exercise. And it's one of the ways or one of the things we help our clients with, because I believe too that when we are clear on our bigger impact, it makes it easier to do those things we might not want to do. If it is, I don't want to go raise my hand to speak at that, conference, or I don't want to network, or I don't want to follow up. But when we see it's about something bigger than us, all that shifts and it becomes, not about Krista or Carrie. It's about this bigger impact.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
Yes. Well, and so, going back in time, if we can travel a little bit, when I started my coaching business, I knew that I wanted to help shape really the landscape for animal welfare and to be able to really my passion. I think cats are nice, but I really have, really favor dogs.
Me too.
Um, and yes, and I had someone tell me the other day they couldn't trust somebody that liked cats, and I said, "Wait, I don't know if I go that far," um, but so I always knew in my heart I wanted to help, make a difference in the animal space. And I always just said, I want to have my impact be where animal shelters are actually shutting down because they don't need them anymore. And so had no idea how that was going to happen, but I just knew that was the case. At the time, I was still working full time in my job, building my business on the side. And so I didn't feel like I had a lot of money to be able to, shut animal or shelters down and do that all financially. So I asked myself a question of, and this is what I invite everybody to think about, is what's a stretch that you can do that feels doable now, but allows you to take action in that direction. And so I'll go back to, really getting clear on what that is. But so many times we think when I make $1 million, $10 million, I'll do this. But the secret is we don't wait. We find a way now to start making that impact. So we're actually walking in alignment and feeling congruent with what we're talking about. And so go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing with you. I'm loving what you're saying. Keep it coming.
Well, and you can tell I get all excited and I'm like, okay, don't get too animated here. But so I knew that was in my heart when I first started. I didn't know exactly what it looked like. And of course, I don't work with, dogs. I have normal human clients, like most everybody here probably does too. But knowing, to me, it was really relieving to know my bigger impact could be outside of, like, we work with coaches to help them build thriving businesses. Great. That's wonderful. Passionate about that. But also it's okay to have it if it's separate too. Like, it doesn't always have to be that that's my bigger mission in life.
Yeah.
And so as I've done this work and worked with clients on it, I realized there's like 3 tiers of impact that we create. And I didn't know this at the time. And so I had a lot of judgment about myself. I know nobody building their business ever judges themselves or is harsh on themselves. It totally doesn't happen. But the first tier, or if you want to think about like concentric circles, I think is what they'd be. The first one is really making sure that we're taken care of at home and our bills are paid, our lights are on, all our loved ones are cared for. Because until that first level of impact is met, it's really kind of silly to be trying to change the world when we're worried about, can I, pay my mortgage this month? Or, I have a health thing maybe that you need to pay for. So making sure that tier is fulfilled first.
Okay.
And that's why I judged myself, because right when I was starting, I thought I need to be changing the world in these huge ways. What am I doing? And I hadn't even replaced my corporate salary at that point. So giving yourself some grace and knowing, and when I first started, I said, okay, what can I do even at that early stage? And I said, well, I could donate $25 a month to a local rescue group. That was a way for me to start and feel in alignment. Was I going to save every animal on the planet? Absolutely not. But I was doing something,
Yeah.
and sometimes clients will donate time on a board,
Hmm.
or creativity, or maybe their social media expertise. So then the second tier, once that first one is fulfilled, we expand out. And that's where, and I always do this, like I'm putting my arms up, but we're actually reaching out and impacting the community. So the
Okay.
first tier is like, make sure you're taken care of at home, all your family, everybody you love is safe. Second tier is reaching out and impacting the community. And that's where I would say, like, donating to that local rescue group. I'm impacting people. This could be if you have a message on your heart. We teach clients to speak to grow their business. It could be around really getting up and sharing your message for free, and so you're impacting people. They're still getting valuable takeaways and shifts. And it may not be that they become a client, it may be, but
Hmm.
to do that. And then the next tier is where you're actually impacting people across the globe. And you're literally impacting so many people that there's no way you could meet each and every one of those people through your impact. And some people are called to go global, some people aren't. There's not a right or wrong. It's really just kind of finding your own place in that, and also really giving yourself permission to, if you're in the first tier of impact, that's great, let's take care of that and not be harsh on yourself like I was.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, well, share with me a little bit, like, what's coming up for you, or where are you, does that kind of land for you as far as,
Yeah.
you know,
I love it. I've been taking notes. Well, that's why I'm looking down. I love how you've put these tiers together because I feel a lot of people will teach, just go out there and do the big thing. Do the
yeah,
big thing. And yeah, we want to have that big goal, but it's awesome to take that big goal then, right, and put it in a box and put it on the shelf
yes,
and bring it down to one small goal, like permission to dream small,
absolutely.
right?
And we
I
don't have to eat the elephant, or whatever that saying is, all at once. We
all at
can just
once.
say, this is, the direction I want to go. And we don't have to have it all figured out either.
Yes, yeah. And I feel that a lot of people are teaching that opposite, Krista, and people are getting them. We're beating ourselves up and not taking care of that home base first or focusing on the community in which we are
Yeah.
already. So I love this. This is awesome. Keep going.
Oh, no, that's, well, you can tell I get so jazzed about it. And
Yeah.
I've actually been just even, and I've been in business for over 10 years, and I've just kept saying, okay, this is what I'm here to do. I don't know exactly how, still donating time, money, energy in that direction. And have recently got more clarity on it. And if you see my excitement and my energy around this, it's really because when you get to really be clear about it and do that in a way that feels aligned for you. And we're actually building out another part of the business that's focusing just on animal welfare and
Mhm.
consulting in that space. And it's just beyond exciting. And so, but also I want to be totally transparent. There was 10 years that I wasn't, I was so busy building my business and, everything we were doing, which was great. But I
Yeah.
said, okay, I'm not sure I'm just going to, like Dory says in the Disney movie, just keep swimming, but really just keep taking those little baby steps and
Yeah.
you'll get clear. Even if, sometimes people don't know, is it to help this group or that group?
Right.
And choose one and start moving in that direction, and then we'll know more.
Yeah. And sometimes I think at least this was true in my life. I wasn't sure where that other part of my life and business was going to focus as far as which which nonprofit, which sector, which thing. And literally as I started moving forward and reaching out to my community, they came to me. I didn't really choose
Yeah.
it, it chose me.
Which is so beautiful when that happens
Yeah.
like that, and you start, and it's like, oh, all these things are just magically showing up, and it's actually you've been taking the time and energy to get clear on really what that is and
Yes.
what's important to you.
Yeah. And it really, the thing that landed on me was exactly what I would have chosen, exactly what I would have chosen.
Yes.
Right? I think when we put it out there, when we have the courage to put it out there and then patiently take a step a day,
Yeah,
it happens.
it does. And it's like when someone had told me or shared with me recently that when you become masterful in something, it's time to move on from what you've become masterful in and
Mhm.
take those skills and solve a new problem.
I love that.
Oh, and it broke my brain the first time I heard that, and I was just kind of like, okay, I need to sit with this. But it really was because being in business for 10 years, we've done a lot of these things over and over
Mhm.
with clients, which is great. But it was like, oh, great. Now that, I get to leverage speaking, for example, to make this other impact in this other area. And to also know that most of the time, at least my feeling, and I'd love to hear your opinion on this, is that we get in business to become whatever that best version of
Mhm.
ourselves is.
Yes.
We
Yes.
may not know it at the time, but it's like permission to keep growing too.
Yeah.
You don't have to stop, or you don't have to only choose one dream.
Right. Oh, I love that you brought that up. And that going back to the mastery part, I think mm, a lot of us are taught that we master something and then we retire from it and we coast.
Yes, yes.
What's your take on that?
Oh my gosh, you can probably guess. I actually felt really frustrated in my business because that's what I felt like I was supposed to believe.
Yeah.
And of course, you know how when you're kind of at that contemplative part of or thinking through things, I remembered a time one of the very first clients I worked with, and she was on the phone call with me and she started crying. And
Oh.
she had just reached six figures. And I was kind of like, of course, curious, why are you crying? Let's talk about all that. But she said, Krista, I'm crying because I'm realizing it's time for me to dream a new dream.
Mm.
And when she shared that with me, and then that came back to me as I was kind of going through this question myself too, is realizing we have permission to dream a new dream. That is totally fine, absolutely normal. And coasting is great. I'm not judging that. But I know I didn't get into running my own business. And most of my clients would say the same, that they're not there to just do something to coast.
Yeah.
There's a bigger, and especially when you have a bigger impact that calls you,
Yes.
it's not okay to be complacent
E-
anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. And that bigger dream is what drives us to keep us from being complacent. I mean, I have a cousin who runs marathons, and I mean, I just don't get the whole running
It's
marathon thing,
it's amazing,
but
yes.
she loves it, and it drives her. And I said, "Do you
Mhm.
think you'll ever stop?" And she said, "Not until I literally physically cannot do it anymore,"
Yeah.
because it is a driving force, and every race that she runs supports a charity that sh
Oh, how cool.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
yeah.
to me, that's about walking in alignment too and being in integrity. Our word lines up with our actions. And, many times in business, I want to hit six figures or I want to do this, but then our actions don't line up, and it's kind of that incongruence that shows up.
Yes. Yeah.
And it feels so good when we're in alignment. Like literally you can feel the energy flowing through you,
Yeah.
and that brings the opportunities to you, I believe too.
Yes. Yeah, and I was listening to a book today, and the author was saying that he used to have a sign in his desk that said, "Yesterday ended last night," meaning when you get up today, you have this whole day ahead
Yes.
of you, and what you did yesterday is done.
Yes.
So you can't rest on your laurels, and you also can't beat yourself up for maybe what you didn't do because today is brand new.
Yes. I love that. So
Mhm.
I think, sometimes I think in like pictures or different quotes too. And I saw one at a store once that said, it's never too late to start the day over.
Oh,
And I've reminded myself that, and you think about the classic example of someone who's on a diet and then, oh, somebody brought donuts over. So you had donuts. Then we've all heard or maybe said it ourselves,
yeah.
oh, might as well eat cake and ice cream the rest of the day because I already had donuts. But it's permission to just start right over and not have to sabotage your rest of your day or to worry about yesterday, that this is a brand new moment and to go forward from here is really exciting to be able
Mhm.
to look at it that way.
So Krista, if you had someone who came to you and said this conversation is going so fast, I'm just like, no, it can't be
I
this.
know. Yeah. I can't believe it's flying through.
So they said, I just need one specific step to take right now. What would that step be?
The step I would take, I actually would give two. So I'll give a little bit of a bonus. I'll be one in part 1A. But
All
the
right.
first one would be to challenge yourself to get clear, start getting clear on what your bigger impact is. So 2 questions that I can give you to start thinking of that is to imagine that I gave you $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Your family is taken care of, everybody is safe, all that good stuff. You can't spend a penny on yourself. What would you do? What would you build? What would you create? That'll start to give you some ideas. And the other question to look at is, does it scare you? And that means it's got to be big enough that you don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And that'll start some ideas flowing. And then, so that's the first step, the step 1A. So
Okay.
I'll follow the rules, or one part B or whatever, is to look at how you can start taking a small step right now, every month, and I looked at how can you really invest energy, and it might be in the form of creativity, time, or money. I just did $25 because at the time that felt like easy and I could do it automatically. But look at how you can give, and what would it look like for you to, how would you feel even at the end of a year having donated, for, I guess that would have been $300, but I felt really good knowing I wasn't making a lot in my business and I was still finding a way to donate to something that was really near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And the last question I was going to ask you was to give us a writing prompt, which you just did.
Perfect.
So,
See, we're in sync already.
I mean, if someone gave me $1 billion, couldn't spend it on myself, it was going to be a bigger impact, and it had to scare me. That really has me thinking. I will do some
Yeah.
journaling on that.
We'll have to stay in touch too. And I'd
Oh,
love to see what comes up for you, because it's kind of mind blowing how just the opportunities that start to show up when you're willing to look at it.
yes, I would love to have you back on. You've been
Yeah.
the perfect first guest for Coffee and Tea with Carrie V Live.
Awesome.
Absolutely perfect. I've loved having you here. Can't wait to get to know you better. And if somebody wants to reach out to you, how do they get in touch with you, Krista?
The easiest thing would be to go to the website. I know that sounds kind of canned and boring, but go to makeyourmark.com and you'll find like if someone wanted to talk about working together or see more that way, you can find everything you need on the website, and be happy to connect that way.
All right, makeyourmark.com. Reach out to Krista. You're amazing. I cannot
Thank
wait
you.
to do this conversation. Definitely can't wait to have you back again.
Oh, awesome. And I'm excited to see what comes up for everybody as well.
Yeah, I will be reaching out to you and letting you know what comes up too.
Great. Perfect.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you. You
you.
have a fabulous rest of your day and week and summer and fall. Are we in fall? And fall.
Yeah. All the things. Yes.
Okay.
Sounds perfect.
Bye.
Bye.